Lux was an ugly loner forced to do odd jobs for people to pay off his debts. However, his life changes when he gets into an all-girls school and start clapping girls while flexing his overpowered divine drag ride. The story opens up with a burning city of Arcadia Empire in a war-torn shape as a few hundred-years-old tyrannical rule of the city was overthrown. A single lone warrior, using a black drag ride, destroys 1,200 of the Empire's drag riders and became known as the Black Hero. In the present time, where the old Empire of Arcadia used to be, there's now a place called the Kingdom of Anismata. In a different part of this kingdom, a boy can be seen running on the roofs of buildings. He's chasing after a cat that snatched a lady's purse. Suddenly, the roof he's on breaks, and he falls right into a room with some cute girls. Now, the boy is in real trouble as the girl falls in, is really mad and wants him to say his final words before she does, as she is going to make him regret it. He tries to use a tactic he learned from an old friend, but it only makes the girls angrier. They throw him into a cell, and he starts pleading for a chance to explain himself. The following morning, a girl with blue hair peeks in and seems more interested in the swords the boy is carrying than his explanation. Another girl named Chalice shows up and calls the blue-haired girl Krulcifer. Chalice questions why Krulcifer is even talking to the prisoner, and tells the boy that the headmistress of their academy wants to see him in her office. As they take him to the office in chains, he recognizes the girls as knights from the Royal Knight Academy. The headmistress, aware of his identity as Lux Arcadia, the former prince of the Arcadia Empire, supports his release. However, the girls insist that he face the consequences of his actions. The headmistress explains that this all-girls academy was created after the coup d'etat, and now they focus on training drag knights for the new empire. Since Lux is a valuable asset to the empire, the headmistress asks him to work at the academy instead. But then, the same blonde girl from before bursts into the office, followed by her friends, and refuses to accept the headmistress' decision. She wants to punish Lux herself and suggests a duel. The headmistress says it'll be easy for Lux since he's famous for being called the weakest undefeated. However, the girl doesn't care and lists her conditions that if he loses he will be going to jail, otherwise he is free to do whatever he wants. Lux discovers that he will be dealing with the princess of the new kingdom Lyshard Anismata, which bothers him even more. Later, Lux has a meet-up with his sister, Ari. She's really let down by what he's done because now it's not just about him. Their family's good name is wrapped up in this too. Ari lays it on thick. She wants Lux to get back to being the go-to handyman around the kingdom. They've got debts to clear, and she's counting on him to do his part. She makes it crystal clear he needs to come out on top against Lyshard and avoid any kind of drama that could pull her into the fray as well. The big showdown kicks off with Lux stepping into a huge stadium. It's packed with girls from Taylor's Swift cult all rooting for Lyshard. The night students are busy setting up a magical barrier around the place. Meanwhile, Lyshard tells Lux that she's got a secret reason for challenging him to this duel, but she's only going to spill the beans if he can actually beat her. Lux readies his sword and calls forth his mechanical dragon, the Wyvern. But the crowd can't help but snicker at Lux's dragon. It looks pretty puny next to Lyshard's massive and mighty mechanical dragon, Tiamat. Ari is off to the side, crossing her fingers and hoping Lux can stand his ground in the intense battle ahead. As soon as the duel starts, Lyshard wastes no time and goes on the offensive, launching a barrage of shots at Lux. He's quick on his feet, dodging left and right, but it's not long before one of the bullets grazes him. Lux, trying to de-escalate the situation, reaches out to Lyshard and tries to negotiate to tie the match as a favor, but this only makes her more angry to show off the full power of her mechanical dragon. She suggests that Lux should switch to his other sword, but he's not having it. He's stubborn and sticks with his current choice. Lyshard can see Lux's tough spirit. Her usual tactics aren't enough to take him down. With no other options, she decides to push things to the limit. Her extreme measures, though, start to put everyone at risk. The ground shakes violently, causing panic and chaos among the students as they scream in terror. Lyshard's dragon starts to spiral out of control, its final attack too much for it to handle. Lux sees the danger and begs her to think of her safety first, but her pride keeps her from backing down. Suddenly, a monstrous creature breaks through, aiming for the school. The students are rushed to safety inside the building. In the midst of the crisis, Lux stands by Lyshard, asking her once more for a favor. This time, they join forces, putting aside their differences to protect their peers from harm. After getting hurt, Lux decides to rest and recover in the quiet of the infirmary. He's got a few injuries that need some time to heal. While he's there, he drifts off into sleep, only to be awakened by a weird dream that seemed too real. As he wakes up, Lyshard comes in to check on him. She sees an opportunity to chat, hoping to clear the air about the earlier incident. She opens up during their talk, revealing the true reason behind their duel. She shares a secret about a special mark, a symbol of the old empire, that's hidden away on her skin, right on her lower belly, and also tells him to promise to keep it just between them. Later, Lux starts his exciting new journey at the Royal Knight Academy. The teacher introduces him to the other students, and the girls can't help but chat quietly among themselves. They're either surprised to see Lux joining their class, or some of them even find him cute. As Lux searches for a place to sit, he gets a wonderful surprise. He spots Filthy, a friend from his childhood, right there in the same class. Filthy calls out to him, and the teacher suggests that they sit together since they already know each other. It's a nice way for Lux to feel more comfortable in this new environment, having a familiar face by his side. In the meantime, Lyshard isn't happy with the teacher telling Filthy and Lux to sit together. Filthy refuses to share her textbook with Lux since he doesn't call her by the nickname they used when they were kids. Lyshard watches them, feeling a bit jealous as they are talking about their past. As recess hits, the girls realize Lux is pretty handy and crowd around him, eager for his help with various tasks. One girl starts making a list for everyone, but things get even more interesting when Lyshard walks over. She asks Lux to be her own personal assistant, just for her, as he has already seen her talents. This builds up some drama, and Filthy ends up arguing with Lyshard. Just then, Krulsifer steps in. She cleverly uses the excuse of needing Lux for the headmistress to take him away from the trouble. Lux is grateful for the escape and follows her, curious about why she's helping him since they aren't close. They end up at a cliff, where Krulsifer asks for his help to find the Black Hero, hinting at some personal reasons for wanting to meet this mysterious knight. Later, Lux has a dream about meeting his brother Fugil. Upon waking up, he's holding onto the blanket really tight, but then freaks out as he accidentally grabbed Filthy's treasure instead. He's super embarrassed to find out he was sleeping next to her, but Filthy doesn't mind at all. Suddenly, a girl opens the door hoping to visit Filthy, but when she finds Lux right on her bed, she closes the door and rushes to announce the news to the entire school. Later, Lux finds himself in another situation with the girls as Lux is talking to his sister Ari. The news reaches her. Lux is really trying to explain to his Ari that the whole thing with Filthy is just a big mix-up. Fortunately, Ari gets it as she knows the headmistress put Lux and Filthy together on purpose, probably guessing it would cause a lot of talk. Feeling a bit shy to hang out with Lux because of all the rumors, Ari decides to just grab her lunch and go by herself. Meanwhile, another girl reminds Lux to be careful, hinting at some earlier chat they had. Lux steps into a warehouse, calling out to announce he's there. He's surprised to see Lyshard asleep on the ground, surrounded by a bunch of tools. She wakes up and says she's in charge of the workshop, but doesn't pay him much attention as she shows him his newly improved wyvern. It's her way of convincing him to join their school's night team. Lux is on board with the idea, and then Lyshard asks him for another favor. They end up going out together so they can get to know each other better. Starting at the market, their outing takes a turn when they land at a fancy restaurant, all thanks to the princess. Lux, worried about the high prices, suggests they find a cheaper spot, but Lyshard starts to show off about her royal status and riches, only to turn red when she realizes she's left her wallet behind. After the restaurant mishap, Lux offers to share a simple snack with Lyshard as they relax near a fountain. When she starts feeling a bit faint, he takes her to a different place. There, she opens up to Lux about the real story behind her special crest. Meanwhile, back at the school, an instructor tells the military students about a new abyss showing up. They need to get ready for a fight. Lux, Ari, and Krulsifer don't get to join since they're not in the night team. Lyshard gets to the fighting scene, but then she hears something fishy. Before she knows it, there's a big boom, and a bunch of monster eggs are hatching, led by Regreed Forrest. Turns out, he used to be a captain in the night team of the old Arcadia Empire. Lyshard tries her best to fight off the swarm of monsters while dodging their attacks, but there are just too many of them. Back at school, one of the cadets rushes back to report this emergency. This news pushes Lux to decide he's got to go help Lyshard out, even though Ari and Krulsifer try to stop him. On the battlefield, Chalice informs Lyshard they have to back off since their drag ride is fully damaged and can't fight anymore. That's when Regreed makes his move, revealing Lyshard's crest by tearing her clothes, reminding her that he was the one who marked her. Listening to this, Lyshard gets furious and throws her sword at Regreed's face. Just then, Lux shows up just in time and fortunately blocks Regreed's sword from hitting Lyshard, but his own drag ride gets its arm wrecked in the process. With no other options left, Lux pulls out his secret weapon, a black sword, and calls forth a divine drag ride named Bahamut. As Lux transforms and jumps into the fight, everyone, including Regreed, Ari, and Lyshard, are surprised. They all realize that Lux is the mysterious black hero blamed for the downfall of Arcadia. Without holding back, Lux takes on the monsters and Regreed all by himself, showing them no mercy. Ari pulls a fast one on her brother Lux, telling him the headmistress wants to see him. Upon entering the room, he is surprised to see a big party waiting for him, with everyone cheering and saying congrats. It's a thank you from the whole school for his heroic action in the battle before. Miss Rely raises her glass, and they all toast, sipping their drinks and having a blast. Lux finds himself in the middle of a crowd of students, all excited and chatting. Most of them are really getting into the party vibe, laughing and joking around. But off to the side, there's a group of girls giving Lux some cold stares, as they haven't let go of the time he accidentally saw them in the bathroom. Suddenly, the headmistress interrupts the party with a smug grin and introduces a game that involves holding a competition over Lux. She presents a special red request form which grants the winner's requests from Lux, and he will be living with them for a week, but there's a catch that they have to obtain it from Lux within a specific time limit. The entire school excitedly chases Lux to get hold of the form. Lyshart welcomes Lux as she finds him peeking into her warehouse. She talks about their recent fight and promises that his secret as the Black Hero is safe with those who know. Lux gets caught in Lyshart's sneaky plan as she keeps him busy with questions, making him not think about what's really happening. He asks her to let him go so he can give the form to her, but he's actually fooling her. The moment she thinks it's all good and lets him go, he sneaks away. After that, Filthy finds Lux hiding in some bushes. She tells him about a deal her sister made if she catches him. She grabs him tight, but then she sees the special form fall out of Lux's clothes. She bends down to get it, but Lux is quick and runs away again. He finds an empty room and sees there's not much time left. So, he stays hidden behind some boxes until the competition is over. Suddenly, Lux remembers he's in the girls' changing room when he hears them talking about their job. Lux feels bad because the girls are sticking up for him while they're getting dressed. Krulsifer goes to grab a book her friend asked for, but she's surprised to see Lux there and asks what's up. She smirks a bit, telling her friend she has something else to do so she can skip their practice. After her friend leaves, Krulsifer tells Lux it's okay to come out of hiding. She tricks him into showing her the form he has, by making him think the competition is already over. Right when Lux gives her the form, a bell rings, making him puzzled. Krulsifer tells him she tricked him by messing with the clock. She playfully says he has to act like her boyfriend for a whole week. Later, Eri takes Lux to meet with Miss Rely in private. She tells him about a big investigation the school's night squadron is planning. They need him to keep safe a whistle that looks like a flute, which they found after a recent fight, because it's important for their investigation. Eri warns Lux to be extra careful around Krulsifer during their pretend relationship for the week since it feels like Krulsifer is keeping secret. On top of it, she's a student from another country and has been acting strange. After their chat, they split up to go to bed. The next day, in the school's dining hall, Krulsifer talks to Lux about what she needs while everyone stares at them. She tells Lux a secret. Her family wants her to marry someone for political reasons, and she needs Lux to pretend to be her boyfriend so she can fool her family's butler. The butler is coming soon to check on her and tell her family how the marriage plans are going. Lux doesn't want to pretend to be her boyfriend, but Krulsifer says she'll tell everyone about him being in the girls' changing room if he doesn't help her. As Lux thinks about getting out of this fake relationship, Krulsifer reminds him of her threat. At night, they're supposed to be doing their school assignments together, but Lyshart interrupts them. She's jealous and brings her friends Filthy and Tilfer in disguise. She tells them to stop studying because it's late. Then, Lyshart tries to make the others jealous by saying she once held hands with Lux, but Filthy tops that by saying she kissed Lux when they were kids. Krulsifer walks with Lux where everyone can see to make her plan seem real. Lyshart follows them secretly, bringing Filthy along, both in disguise. Krulsifer starts her plan by taking Lux shopping. They try on lots of fancy clothes for Lux, all paid for with Krulsifer's money. After shopping, they go out to eat. However, they're suddenly attacked by some weird guys. Lux is quick and stops a bullet from hitting Krulsifer. She tells Lux to fight these guys while she calls her drag ride. After Lux fights them off, Krulsifer beats the last of attackers. Alterize, who works for Kreutzer as a butler, takes down one more bad guy. Meanwhile, Lyshart and Filthy sneak after Lux to watch his pretend date with Krulsifer. Turns out, Krulsifer has to prove she's really got a boyfriend. During the meeting, another man named Lord Baltzeride arrives. He's someone Krulsifer's family wants her to marry. Seeing Lux posing as Krulsifer's boyfriend, Baltzeride challenges Lux to a battle. If Lux loses, he has to agree to let him marry Krulsifer. Lord Baltzeride is up to no good, laughing in a sneaky way while he makes a secret plan with someone wearing a cloak. In class, Lux is super tired and can't stop yawning. Krulsifer comes over to him to say thanks for agreeing to the fight. She seems to think Lux is really into the challenge, almost like they're a real couple. Krulsifer tells him he should use his special black sword because winning against Baltzeride isn't a sure thing. Just then, Lyshart rushes in. She's figured out that Lux and Krulsifer aren't actually a couple. She's super pumped and starts talking really fast about making Lux's drag ride even better for the upcoming fight. She has this wild idea to put a big drill on it, but Lux isn't on board with that idea. He thinks it's a bit too much. Lyshart can tell Lux is super sleepy as he keeps yawning. Then Tilfer comes along, joking about how Lux isn't hanging out with his so-called girlfriend, Krulsifer, and she pulls him away to another room. Inside, Lux finds Lyshard, who's acting all shy and nervous, but they both greet him super nicely, calling him master. Sulfur spills the beans and tells Lux that Lyshard asked her for advice on how to make him happy. So, they came up with a plan to dress up and act like maids for him all day, hoping it would help him relax and feel less tired. Lux can see that Lyshard is a bit red in the face as she's not sure about this whole maid idea, but he tells her it's really sweet. Elsewhere, in the royal capital, the Anismata castle and the 4 great houses of the empire get together for an urgent meeting. The Queen's Guard addresses the houses as he informs them about the situation of Poseidon, the Ragnarok powerful abyss that was once captured and is now beginning to break free from its bondage. The matter stems from fear amongst their discussion about finding a solution. Lord Warg suggests they investigate the ruins immediately and obtain the powerful weapons that lie within the ruins. He then uses the opportunity to entrust the mission to his son, Baltzerai. While Lux is just chilling in the bath, he's thinking hard about why Krulsifer is so into the idea of checking out those old ruins. But then, he's totally taken by surprise when he sees Filthy in the bath with him. Filthy begins to feel dizzy and starts to doze off. Lux becomes concerned because there's a risk she might slip beneath the water, which would be dangerous. Despite her big talents getting in the way, Lux remains focused on keeping her safe. Later, the teacher at the academy gathers everyone up to talk before they head out to the ruins. He's got some news. Their plans are changing because Lord Baltzerai is going to tag along. He says he's there to help them fight the monsters and check out the ruins. Lyshard isn't too happy about this and tries to call him out, but Baltzerai won't back down. He says that he is only here to help his soon-to-be wife, trying to convince everyone he's got good reasons to be there. Upon reaching the ruins, Lyshard starts to figure out about what's happening. But before she can even say anything, Krulsifer just jumps right in and heads into the ruins. Lyshard tries to stop her, but Krulsifer is already on her way down. One of the knights feels that a monster called Abyss is nearby and tells everyone to watch out. Lux jumps into action and rescues Noct, who's about to be hit by the abyss called Diablos. He yells to her to run while he keeps the monster busy. They try to fight Diablos, but it's super quick and goes after Lyshard again. Eventually, Krulsifer steps up and lands a solid blow on the beast with her special wise blood powers. While this is happening, Baltzerai starts to mess with the squadron. He throws out a challenge to Lux, saying if Lux can beat him, he'll back off from their earlier fight agreement. But right in the middle of his taunting, Lyshard steps in, ready to take on the abyss herself. She's fierce and all, but it gets risky and she almost gets hurt. Baltzerai turns into the hero by taking down the abyss and can't help but show off to Lux. Suddenly, a huge blast hits and sucks everyone right into the ruins. When Lux wakes up, he's alone, but Krulsifer fills him in, saying they should head to the ruins' heart to find the others. She's really feeling the effects of the fight, so Lux tells her to lean on him so they can keep moving. They get to the middle of the ruins first and Krulsifer doesn't waste a second and dashes to an altar there. Lux thinks about this whistle he was given, wondering if it's supposed to open the ruins. But before he even tries it, the ruins open up all on their own. That's when Krulsifer drops a bombshell on Lux, spilling the beans that she's not just linked to the ruins past but also the key to unlocking them. All of a sudden, they hear a voice and the ground starts shaking like crazy. Lux acts fast and yanks Krulsifer out of harm's way. The whole place comes crashing down, and they're trapped with no way out because of giant rocks blocking their path. Krulsifer opens up about her life, sharing that she was taken in by an earl from the Ymir theocracy. Her new dad found her when she was little, but she always felt like she didn't fit in as she was different from everyone else right from the start. Krulsifer put in a ton of effort, trying to be the best at everything, hoping her new family would notice and love her for it, but it didn't work out the way she hoped. Instead of bringing them closer, it just made the gap between them bigger. While she was looking into things, Krulsifer figured out that her feeling of being different was true when the ruins reacted to her presence. She's now sure she's not like everyone else, but she's too frightened to find out more about her true story. She's worried about what she might discover if she digs deeper. Then, all of a sudden, Krulsifer starts to giggle at Lux. She teases him for being too caring, which she thinks is a big soft spot of him. She jokes that she hopes his kindness won't cause trouble for him. Curious, she asks Lux how he can be so gentle and kind, especially after all the bad stuff that happened to his kingdom. Lux then opens up about his own tough times. He tells her how he, his mom, and his sister Eri were kicked out from the royal castle because his granddad did something really bad. He shares how lonely it was because everyone turned their backs on them, even when his mom passed away. Lux tells Krulsifer about a friend named Filthy who really helped him out. When everyone else left him alone, Filthy didn't. She would come to see him and make him feel better. This act of kindness helped him not to hold a grudge against the Empire for turning its back on him. Krulsifer then says she wishes Lux had been the ruler of a new kingdom because maybe then she would have had a chance to be rescued too. She even likes Lux's idea of creating an empire based on love. Suddenly, Their conversation is cut off by a loud noise. It's Lyshart's drag ride, and it has a big drill on it. Lyshart shows off the drill to Lux, reminding him she had told him before how handy a drill can be. She also throws in a comment, hoping that nothing weird was going on between him and Krulsifer. Eri comes to see Lux and makes him some tea. She's not happy because he came back without the key they were looking for, and his drag ride is all messed up. Lux doesn't tell Eri that he actually found out Krulsifer is the real key they need. Eri gives Lux a special herbal tea from Krulsifer, which had helped him in sleeping lately. Lux is worried about the upcoming fight, but Eri tells him to just focus on getting his strength back. While they talk, Eri thinks about the form Krulsifer gave her. She remembers Krulsifer thanking her for helping stop Lux from fighting in the duel. Later, Krulsifer arrives at the field alone as she lies about sending Lux home as a reason for his absence. Lord Baltzeride calls forth his own big powerful drag ride ready to fight Krulsifer. He quickly overpowers her before she can even fight back with her sword, knocking her out. Now it's just him and the unconscious Krulsifer. Baltzeride takes a good look at Krulsifer's drag ride and sees it has some cool powers. He finds a way to take control of it and uses its abilities to throw her hard onto the ground. Krulsifer, trying to understand what's happening, figures out that Baltzeride had planned to trap her all along. He knew she was important to unlocking some ancient secrets. Baltzeride laughs at her for not realizing his plan sooner. He tells her to just give up, accept what's happening, and agree to work for him. Just as things are looking bad for Krulsifer, Lux shows up on the battlefield. He tells Baltzeride to back off and that he's not okay with the way Baltzeride is treating Krulsifer. Krulsifer tries to tell Lux to stay out of it, but Lux isn't having any of it. He's set on facing down Baltzeride himself. Lux then takes a moment to explain to Krulsifer what Baltzeride's robot can do. It has this sneaky power to take the abilities and energy from any robot it touches. Moreover, he's using Krulsifer as a distraction, hoping to get close to Lux's robot to steal its powers too. In the middle of all this chaos, Eri gets in touch with Krulsifer. She's really confused about why Lux would go to such lengths to protect Krulsifer when they're not even that close. Eri tells her not to try stopping Lux because he's already figured out their earlier schemes. Meanwhile, Baltzeride spills his grand plan to Lux. He wants to capture Krulsifer, who he needs as a key to fight this huge battle called Ragnarok, and he believes this will save their new kingdom. Lux isn't giving up, though, and uses one last strike to defeat Baltzeride as he uses a special ability. After the big fight, Lux goes back to Krulsifer, super happy about beating Baltzeride. He asks her to head back to the academy with him, probably to chill out after all that excitement. Next thing you know, Lux and Krulsifer are out on a date. And while they're hanging out, Lux gets news from his butler. The butler tells him that Lux's family is actually cool with him getting hitched to Krulsifer and fully supports them being together. Krulsifer then tells Lux that she's totally fine if he doesn't want to get married just because of politics. She's not about to push him into anything he doesn't want. Then, out of nowhere, she leans in and plants a kiss on Lux. He's taken aback as he didn't see that coming at all. While all this is happening, Lyshart is peeking through the restaurant window, totally frozen in shock as she sees Lux and Krulsifer kissing. Krulsifer doesn't stop there. She goes in for another kiss, this time really laying it on thick. Just as things are heating up, Lyshart can't take it anymore. She bursts into the restaurant, super mad, and breaks up their little moment. At night, there's this quiet girl sneaking around the school's yard, but when some other students see her, she gets nervous and dashes off. In her hurry, she runs right into a teacher from the school. The teacher doesn't know who she is and tells her she should head back inside as there's talk about a weirdo hanging around the place. She keeps walking and doesn't even realize that the student she just passed by is actually Lux in disguise, pretending to be one of the girls at the school. Chalice and Tilfer catch up with Lux to inform him about the situation. She also spills the beans about a female student who can take down Ragnarok. Turns out, she's the top student in her third year and really can't stand guys. However, Lux is all in to help catch the creeper, so they come up with a plan to disguise him as a girl to lure the creeper out. They find some girl clothes for Lux and get him all dressed up. He then sits under a streetlight, kind of surprised about how things turned out with the girl's plan. Just then, he hears a girl's voice from behind some bushes. Lux is curious, so he sneaks a look and sees a girl talking to a cat. Suddenly, Lux gets attacked by the suspected creep. He jumps in to protect the stranger from getting hurt and ends up getting bruised himself. The strange girl takes him to the infirmary to get his wounds treated. But here's the thing, Lux is still in his disguise, so he suggests that the girl treats his wounds from behind to avoid getting caught. After getting patched up, Lux starts having a really nice chat with this mysterious student. They're having such a good time talking that Lux even forgets who he really is. While he's trying to eat his lunch, he suddenly remembers what happened the night before. And here's where it gets interesting. Lux introduces himself as Luna to the girl while she introduces herself as Celestia Ralgris. Just when Lux is lost in his thoughts, Lyshart shows up and starts causing a scene. Meanwhile, Krulsifer suggests that Lux should hang out with her again. The whole school is watching as Lyshard and Krulsifer fight for Lux's attention. In the meantime, a weird guy in a purple jacket shows up where Baltzaride is locked up. Baltzaride is all happy, begging the guy to free him and talking about getting even with Lux. However, the guy in purple puts this thing called Ragnarok's seed into Baltzaride, turning him into this creepy creature called an abyss. Lux is chilling on his bed, thinking hard about having a chat with Celestia about all the drama with Ragnarok. Suddenly, Tilfer points out that there's a big fuss happening in Miss Reli's office, and it's all about him. Lux tunes in to hear Celestia saying she's not cool with him being at the academy. He decides to walk into the office, but Celestia isn't welcoming at all. She's in the middle of a heated debate with Lyshard, listing all the reasons why Lux shouldn't hang around their school. Celestia is super fixated about keeping Lux out of any school stuff, especially anything to do with Ragnarok. However, Miss Rely steps in with a peacemaking idea. She throws down a challenge, setting up a duel between Celestia and Lux. The showdown is set to go down in a couple of days during the Night Squad's training over at Rise Island. When they finally get to the training camp, Lyshard can't stop whining about how tough Celestia's training sessions are. Lux tries to give back the girl's costume to Chalice, but she surprises him by saying it's a present for him to keep. Suddenly, Sanya yells for Lux to come do a job. He goes into a room and is totally shocked when he sees that Celestia is the one who wants the massage. After he's done with the massage, Celestia tells him to turn the lights on so she can get dressed and say thanks. Lux quickly gets into his Luno outfit while Celestia gets all cheerful when she sees it's Luno and asks to hang out after they eat the next day. Although he agrees to it, he is not exactly jumping for joy about it. After Luno leaves Celestia's room, Sanya sees him and wants to know what's going on. But luckily, Krulsifer steps in and says Luno is with her, diverting the situation. Krulsifer warns Luno that Sanya is the reason Celestia keeps bothering him about getting kicked out. Luno and Celestia spend time together, going to different cool places, like a shop where they sell swimsuits. Celestia opens up to Luno and tells him a secret that nobody knows: she doesn't hate guys. While they're chilling, everyone at the big castle in Atismata starts freaking out as a guard tells them some wild news. This huge creature called Ragnarok that had been turned to stone is now gone. The stoneworkers only found a bit of it left, like a hollow statue, and no one knows where it went. Meanwhile, at the place where the knights train, Sanya tells Celestia she's not into guys just as Lux is about to join them for swimming. Celestia feels she needs to be honest with Sanya since she also told Luno. She admits she does like guys, but her high-status family and job as the leader of the knights make it tough for her to be around them. Lux goes to the beach and sees the girls in their swimsuits but thinks they're just in their undies at first, so he quickly says sorry and looks away. Lux then meets Lyshard, who tries to cover up her crest with her swimsuit, but can't hide it, and Lux tells her it's okay. Surprisingly, Eri and Miss Rely also join them for fun. Suddenly, Celestia and Sanya come to the beach too. Celestia reminds the headmistress why they're there. Tilfer and some other girls pull Lux to the side and give him some girl's swimsuit, hoping he'll help catch the creep that's been bothering them. However, Lux is embarrassed and tries to get away while accidentally running into Celestia. She gets mad at him for bumping into her and tells the headmistress they're going back to their place. Lux remembers talking with Celestia before. She tells him she used to learn from his grandpa and feels bad because she thinks she's the reason he's no longer around. The day of the big fight comes, and Lux and Celestia stand in a big open space while their teacher talks to them. They get into their drag rides and start the fight. While that's happening, Tilfer and Chalice catch Sanya and figure out her secret of being a spy and a creep to frame Lux. Sanya takes off her disguise and tells everyone she's there to get rid of the girls. Suddenly, that whistling noise happens again, and an earthquake stops Lux and Celestia's fight as a huge monster shows up. Lisa tells all the girls to make sure the people living on the island are safe, and Miss Rely is there to help Filthy, who is feeling really weak and is found hiding in the bushes. Lux tries to get Filthy to stay calm, but she doesn't listen and goes to fight the big monster, Ragnarok, making it fall to the ground. Lux goes quickly to help Celestia as her own attacks are making her weak. Just then, Sanya comes and shows her bad side, telling Lux that it's Celestia's fault his grandpa is gone. The whistle keeps going, and Ragnarok comes back to life in a mysterious way. Celestia finally tells Lux what really happened to his grandpa, and she feels sad that she couldn't protect him. Lux takes this chance to apologize and shows Celestia his black sword, promising to keep her safe. Celestia gets curious about Lux being the black hero, but Lux ignores it and focuses on fighting Ragnarok. Sanya makes fun of Lux for trying to fight alone, but he doesn't give up and uses his reload on fire move. He keeps cutting off Ragnarok's tentacles even though they keep growing back. Eri watches her brothers fight from far away and explains his moves to Noct. Celestia gets stronger and tells Sanya to give up before the fight ends, but Sanya reminds Celestia that she couldn't see through her plans because of her powerful background. Eventually, Sanier runs away saying goodbye, while Celestia can't catch her or stop her. Lux is breathing hard as he keeps hitting Ragnarok until it's finally defeated. A mysterious person covered by a veil starts to laugh in an evil way and compliments Lux for beating Ragnarok. Then, this person shows her face, and Lux can't believe it. He thought the bad guy was his brother, Fugel Arcadia, but she says her name is Hayes. She tells everyone that the same bad times that happened in Arcadia are going to happen again in the New Kingdom. After learning the truth, Celestia gets mad at Lux as she's embarrassed that he saw every side of her personality. She's a bit shy when she talks about her feelings during the time Lux saved her. She then asks Lux to teach her how to talk to boys more easily. She also acknowledges his admission to the academy and becoming part of the Night Squadron. Later, Lux is in his room, thinking hard about what happened 5 years ago. He's having trouble remembering everything. Meanwhile, the students are by the sea when they feel another earthquake. Suddenly, a massive whale-shaped thing arises from the sea. Miss Rely decides it's time to tell the students the real reason behind their trip. 9 years ago, young Lux lived in a huge fancy place called the Imperial Palace. He was looking at a statue that was all broken since his brother, Fugel, accidentally knocked it down. However, the clever Rigreed tries to blame one of the palace girls for it. Lux walks into a room just when the young Filthy was about to say she broke the statue, but Lux said it was him who did it, not her. After everything was settled, Filthy ran over to Lux to thank him for being so nice. She gave him a little treat and asked him to call her Fi, and that's how they started being friends. In present, Lux heard Filthy is not feeling well, so he visits to see how she is doing. Filthy is excited and really wants to join Lux and the others to explore the ancient ruins. Then, Lice Shark gets Lux's attention and shows him to the place where they keep their big machines. She informs him about a cool new thing she added to his drag ride. It's called Over Limit. However, Lux gets super nervous when he realized what Over Limit is actually capable of. At the same time, Eri was feeling a bit uneasy. She had a hunch that their adventure into the ruins might not be such a good idea. Then, Miss Rely gathered all the students and gave them a pep talk. Lux is checking on Filthy again when Eri jumps in, reminding him to always protect her. They're all getting lifted into the ruins now. Noct is keeping them updated about their safety from monsters as they arrive at the second level, but they haven't run into any monsters yet. Miss Rely decides it's best to split everyone up into teams to explore more since there's a lot more to check out. Eri's excitement drops when she thinks she's going to be in the same group as Lux, but then she finds out she's investigating on her own. Lux sees Celestia getting upset about the idea of going solo. She's squatting and talking to herself about it. He walks over to her and invites her to join his group after their first exploration. Celestia's mood lights up instantly, and she thanks him for being someone she can rely on. Lux is back on the job with his sister Eri and her friend Noct. Eri makes it clear to Lux that just because they're on their own, he shouldn't flirt with Noct. Suddenly, Noct stops walking as she sees something that looks like a person up ahead. Lux says he'll go check it out and finds a weird girl lying under some rocks. Krulsifer catches up with them, and they're all pretty shocked to see this strange girl. Krulsifer tells the girls to go back to the others while she stays to watch the weird creature. She leans down to get a better look at the girl and tells Lux that this girl isn't human and she's something they can't even really describe. The strange girl suddenly opens her eyes as Krulsifer touched her, and she asks them to help fix her up instead of just leaving her there. She then tells them her name is La Crush and that she's in charge of the ruins. Krulsifer wants to know more about what happened to them, but La Crush can't remember much. Despite this, La Crush seems to think Krulsifer is some kind of boss, so she asks her about how they can get the ruins' main system working again. After that, Krulsifer introduces La Crush to everyone else, and La Crush seems really impressed with the team. Meanwhile, Lux notices that Filthy isn't feeling too good and goes over to her, but then Krulsifer distracts him. On the other hand, the big families have a meeting to discuss Rigreed's surprising getaway and what to do next. During the meeting, someone brings up Lux's recent victories, like beating Ragnarok, and they suggest to the Queen that they should get Lux to join their side and work for the Empire. The Queen decides to think about it a bit more before giving an answer. Meanwhile, the girls and Miss Rely visit a place where they make things, but it is also home to the dangerous creatures called abysses. Filthy covers her ears to block out a really loud noise. Suddenly, one of the abysses shows up and goes after Lux. He tries to convince Miss Rely that they should stop their exploring plans because of the danger, but she says they need to keep going with their work, even after the attack. Filthy gets really worried about the safety of the people around, so she calls her drag ride and takes off quickly to help protect them. Lux manages to catch up with Filthy as she rushes toward a strange location where an abyss might be. Suddenly, one of these creatures appears and starts to attack Filthy. As this happens, Lux begins to remember the place they're in. It feels familiar to him. He starts to remember bits and pieces about the building. In a burst of anger, Lux fights off the abyss with all his might and then goes back to normal. He calls out for Filthy as he enters the building, trying to find her. Inside, Lux's memories become clearer. He remembers that this building was used by the old empire to do bad experiments on people, trying to make new weapons. While trying to understand everything, Lux finds Filthy in a room. She looks very sick, like she has a high fever, and Lux helps her. As they walk back to where they're staying, Filthy warns that there's another abyss close by. Lux tells her not to worry because he thinks he already defeated it. But, in a surprising turn, Filthy attacks Lux. A while back, there was a moment between Lux and Filthy that's really important. It happened the last time Lux saw Filthy before she had to leave the palace when she was just a kid. She went away with her mom and sister. As they bid farewell, Lux made a promise to Filthy to build a kingdom where everyone could live in peace. Unexpectedly, Filthy gave Lux a kiss, a special charm indicating they would meet again in the future. In the present, Lux is in distress as Filthy, under some influence, grips his neck, making it hard for him to breathe. Terrified, Lux calls out her name, but suddenly, Filthy returns to normal and faints. As Lux catches his breath, Hayes appears with a sinister smile, seemingly happy about Lux's struggle. While all this is going on, Lyshart and Krulsifer are busy dealing with another monster, one of those scary abyss creatures. They beat it, but they don't go back to their friends right away. Lyshart has a feeling that something strange is happening, and she shares her thoughts with Krulsifer. She's been feeling this way since they all started their special training camp. Just then, Eri jumps into the conversation. She's not there to joke around with Krulsifer, she's got serious updates to give. She tells them that Chalice and Tilfer are in a bit of a pickle as their drag rides are broken. Eri also says they found a door that leads to the very bottom level of the place they're in, but there's a problem. They can't open it because it needs a special key. Krulsifer gets what Eri is talking about with the key thing. After hearing all this, Eri and the rest of the girls think it's best to back off and leave the place for a while. They decide to get out of there and think about what to do next. Lux, visibly upset, holds his sword out towards Hayes, demanding an explanation for her recent behavior. Hayes reveals a small seed, a part of Ragnarok, explaining that Filthy had one inside her as she was aiding its growth. Lux is stunned, realizing that Filthy's sickness symptoms were due to her struggle against Ragnarok's commands. Hayes then tries to make a deal. She says she can keep Filthy from turning into an abyss, but she wants something in return. Lux finds out from Hayes that Filthy doesn't have much time left, just a few days. Hayes claims she has a whistle that can command Ragnarok to save Filthy. But what she wants from Lux is for him to help her open a locked door in a floating ruin outside. Back at the school, Lux is thinking really hard about how to fix things while Filthy is taking a nap. After a bit, she wakes up super hungry and asks for some food. While they're talking about eating together, Lux suddenly remembers a weird moment when one of Filthy's eyes lit up, and it makes him stop and think. Just then, Miss Relay shows up, which grabs Lux's attention. Miss Relay sits down with Lux and tells him everything about why Filthy is feeling so unwell. She also shares her plan. She wants to use some special tech from the old ruins to help her sister get better. Lux is feeling really down because he can't stop thinking about the mean things Hayes said to him before. While he's lost in his thoughts, Lyshart suddenly dashes off to talk to the principal. She wants to get a special permission to use a powerful feature on her Bahamut. Out of nowhere, while all this is happening, Lux hears a voice coming from his own drag ride. It's his brother, Fugel Arcadia, and he starts talking after being quiet for so long. Fugel has an idea about how to fix Filthy's health problems. When Lux goes to see Filthy, she tells him that she knows there's an abyss inside her. Lux gets really serious and promises Filthy that he'll save her, just like she saved him when they were little. The team gets back to work the next morning, trying to figure things out. Lyshart is so determined to get through a tough spot that she warns Crush she'll use her dragon's powerful abilities if she has to. Just then, Krulsifer walks over to the door, opens it, and leaves everyone wondering how she did it. She's quick though, making up a story so no one asks too many questions. Suddenly, Crush steps into the room, and it's like she remembers everything from her past. She's really mad and says she might just get rid of the whole team. That's when Hayes steps in, bringing Filthy with her. Hayes blows a whistle, and it's like a command for Filthy to start attacking everyone. With this situation in place, the students have to call on their drag rides to defend themselves. They need to fight against Filthy, who's not in control, and also deal with some rogue dragons that no one was expecting. Fugel appears on the lowest level and has a conversation with Hayes. Eri steps in and uses the whistle to counteract Hayes' control over Filthy, bringing her back to her senses. The squadron tries to arrest Hayes, asking her to surrender, but they don't realize that they've fallen into a trap she set. Hayes uses the whistle again and summons another Ragnarok. The girls team up to attack it all at once, but it just keeps getting stronger. Lux asks Lyshart if he can use the overlimit, but she initially says no because it could be really dangerous for him. However, she changes her mind when they realize it's their only chance to survive. Lux gets ready for his final move, called the end action, while Lyshart sends the code, but Lux gets caught by the Ragnarok's tentacle. Thankfully, Filthy encourages him not to give up. Lux receives the code and quickly unleashes Bahamut's true form, destroying Ragnarok. Hayes can't believe what she's seeing and runs away to safety as the ruins start to crumble. Later on, Filthy visits Lux while he's recovering from his injuries. She takes the opportunity to thank him for keeping his promise. They're throwing another party to celebrate Lux getting better after being stuck in bed from what went down at the training camp. Lux is pretty shocked when Miss Rely shows up at the party. She tells everyone she's off the hook for the charges after paying a fine. She also spills the beans about a huge event the Empire is planning, which is going to happen around the same time as the kingdom's founding celebration. Everyone's getting excited about it, except for Lyshart, who seems pretty down about something. While the girls are all buzzing around Lux, Lyshart tries to find a moment to invite him out. The girls hover around Lux while Lyshart attempts to ask him out, but Krulsifer outruns her by asking first to go out on a date with him. All other girls also agree to go on a date with Lux. Miss Rely steps in again and says Lux has to pick 3 girls to take on dates during the festival as a pat on the back for doing a great job at the training camp. While all this is going on, Lux spots a bunch of nobles heading over to their school, and he's curious about what's up. He asks his sister Aerie for the lowdown, and she fills him in about this epic all-dragon battle that's going to be part of the festival fun, and guess what? Lux is going to be in it, representing their academy. Aerie's got more news, though. She tells Lux to watch his back because the Empire's dagger, a really dangerous guy who used to be locked up, has busted out. Lux gets it right away. This Empire's dagger dude is no joke, the top dragon knight who worked for the old Empire's royal family. Aerie's all serious, telling Lux to be extra careful since he's on the dagger's radar. The next day, Lux gets ready for his date with Celestia. The other girls make sure he looks super sharp, dressing him up like a fancy butler. He and Celestia have a blast at the festival, checking out all the cool stuff and joining in on the fun events. At some point, they end up chilling by a fountain and Celestia's a little wobbly cause of drinks. She opens up to Lux about how she struggles to fit in with the other students but vows to keep working hard to be an awesome dragon knight, especially for Lux. Trying to be all formal, Celestia goes for a handshake but she trips and starts to fall over. Lux dives in to help her, but in the scramble, he accidentally touches her talons. Just then, Tilfer and her crew show up and catch him in the middle of the act, leaving Lux totally stunned. After the whole awkward moment, the squad tells Lux he's got another date lined up and he needs to get ready. Tilfer, like his personal stylist, gets him all dressed up for the occasion. When Lux steps in, he finds himself at this fancy gathering filled with high-class folks and dragon knights, all getting hyped for the big dragon showdown. While he's taking in the scene, Krulsifer comes over and asks Lux to hit the dance floor with her. Lux gives it a go, but Krulsifer can't help but giggle at his 2 left feet dance moves throughout their dance. She also fills him in on some juicy gossip. Alterize is lurking around, keeping an eye on them because she's got it in her head that Lux and Krulsifer are an item. As the day winds down, Krulsifer throws a curveball at Lux, hinting that a smooch might just throw Alterize off their trail. Lux runs along to meet up with Filthy as she is his last date for the day. They meet up by an alley while the other girls spy on them as their roles are finally over. Filthy unexpectedly takes Lux to church as she implores him to take a nap on her lap as she's bothered by how he has been stressing even after recovering. Lux heads home as it's late already while stretching as the nap he took was well needed. Lyshart interrupts him by venting to him for not picking her to be among his dates. Lyshart struggles to tell Lux about her requests as she asks him to be her knight officially and requests he think about it before her speech on the last day of the festival. Lux hesitates as he's a criminal from the previous empire and wouldn't just be accepted by everyone immediately. The next day, Lux's sister Aerie hangs out with him and gives him an earful for overdoing it. She's worried sick because he jumped right back into training and even started taking on extra work, all while his health is still on the line. She sets a rule for how long he can use his powerful Bahamut to keep him in check. While they're talking about how Aerie looks, out of nowhere, this infamous Empire's dagger appears. Aerie freaks out and tells Lux to book it because squaring off with that dagger spells trouble. But Lux stands his ground, sword in hand, ready to face whatever comes. Then, plot twist, the person holding the dagger, Kiriheim Yoruka, calls Lux her boss and introduces herself. She's not there to take him down, like the whispers around town suggest. In fact, she's there to pledge her loyalty to him. Aerie's not having any of it though. She catches Lux getting sidetracked by Kiriheim's Riz and snaps at him to keep his head in the game. Lux, trying to keep things under control, asks Kiriheim to give him a sec to think about because he doesn't have any tasks for her just yet. While Lux is bathing, Kiriheim gets uncomfortably close to him, causing some tension. Things escalate when Lyshart barges in after hearing Lux yell, worried about his safety. However, upon seeing Lux with another girl, she gets really mad. After that whole bath fiasco, Lux takes a stroll with Kiriheim. He tells her she doesn't have to stick to the old promises she made back when his dad was in charge. Nut Kiraheim has her own ideas. She's all about bringing back the old empire and starts whispering some dark plans to Lux about wrecking the current empire. However, Lux isn't down with that and turns her down. Just when you think it's all cooling down, Celesta shows up and starts fighting with Kiraheim, and soon all the others jump in to help. Filthy tries to get in on the action and goes after Kiraheim's drag ride, but she pulls a fast one and takes control of Filthy's drag ride, making it turn on her own friends. In the end, Kiraheim peace out but leaves Lux. While leaving, she tells she's got a big secret that could change everything for the new kingdom, and she'll spill the beans if Lux decides to follow her. Later, Lyshard is having a tough time getting her speech right for the big kingdom founding festival. She's practicing hard as she wants to nail it. While she's at it, she reminds Lux about something she asked him to do before. In another place, Crush is busy giving Hayes the lowdown on how their sneaky plan is going. They're getting all their ducks in a row and everything seems to be on track. Meanwhile, Sanya is getting a bit suspicious. She's not sure if Kiraheim is really on their side or if she's playing her own game. So, she goes to Hayes and starts asking questions about whether they can really trust Kiraheim. Hayes is pretty confident and tells Sanya not to worry because she's got Kiraheim under control. Lux and Eri are summoned by the royal courts for a confidential discussion about the imperial capital recapture operation. They can't disclose details publicly due to safety concerns, suspecting loyalists from the previous empire are plotting against the new empire. They inform Lux of their desire for him to be their secret weapon against the recapture operation, instructing him to bait out 100 abysses that had been reported to be around the empire while threatening him with the previous incident about the ruins investigation. Lux leaves Eri shocked as he reluctantly accepts the orders of the royal court to be the bait and win the all-dragon battle. Eri scolds Lux for being soft-hearted and accepting the orders of the palace without considering the risk involved. Lux and Lyshard are hanging out, planning to beef up his wyvern for the big fight that's coming up. But Lux feels like someone's watching him, and yep, he's right. Kiraheim, who's been secretly keeping an eye on him, steps out of the shadows and throws him a curveball. She tells him to interrogate her however he wants. She then spills the beans about the deal that was made with the old empire. She talks about her twin brother, who was a good guy just like Lux, but he's not around anymore. Kiraheim's still trying to stick to the promise she made to her brother, even though he's gone. She's pretty set on smashing the new kingdom to keep her word to Lux's dad. But Lux isn't about that life. He's not going to team up with Kiraheim to wreck the new empire. That's when Kiraheim drops the bomb that she's now Lux's enemy and throws in a warning for good measure. She tells him to watch his back in the all-dragons battle because it's not just the dragons he needs to worry about. It could be someone else trying to take him down. It was finally time for the big showdown. The first day was all about one-on-one fights, and the next day was for team battles. Just before it all kicked off, Eri made a beeline to see Lux. She wanted to catch him before he started his first challenge. Lux had to leave everything in Eri's hands, just in case he couldn't make it back for the team battle the day after. Lyshard was in the middle of her own fight, and it was all going smoothly until the second half. Her drag ride started freaking out, and it was so bad that it put all the people watching in danger. After that mess, they called Lyshard in to talk about what happened. She tried to tell her side of the story, but no one would listen. They decided to keep her locked up until they could figure out what really went down. Prosifer stepped in then, telling Lyshard to go with them quietly while promising that they'd clear her name somehow. Lux hears a sound, like a whistle, and figures out where it's coming from. He starts defending himself from the attacks and finds Sanya, standing at the entrance of a cave, all fired up about getting revenge on Lux. She uses the whistle to summon those creepy abyss creatures, but Lux is quick on his feet. He leads the abyss creatures on a chase, making them follow him as they try to attack. He successfully tricks them into falling for his trap. The captain then tells him to take a break now because all that's left is the final battle. Eri doesn't have a choice but to inform about her brother's mission to the other girls. She apologizes for keeping it a secret. Prosifer suggests that they all do their part while Lux fights the abyss creatures alone. They start discussing Lyshard's case and suddenly realize that the one behind it all might just be Kiraheim. After all, he drag ride gives her the power to control others. The girls make a plan to catch Kiraheim before she can cause more trouble. Lux, feeling something isn't right about his run-in with Sanya, can't relax. He's got this nagging thought that they're all missing a big piece of the puzzle. Lux rushes out and finds everything destroyed. A wounded soldier tells him that rebels attacked right after their fight with the abyss creature. Lux understands now. They walked right into the rebels' trap, and they're heading to their next battleground at a place called Crossfeet. Meanwhile, Chalice has to tell everyone that the tournament's been called off cause enemies broke through the Empire's defenses. Out of nowhere, Regreed Forest shows up, ready to fight Lux, bragging about wanting to be the next emperor and take over the new Empire's throne. However, Lux isn't having it. He stands up to Regreed, determined not to let his evil plans succeed. Just then, Lux spots a huge monster heading for the new kingdom. He knows he's got to take a risk and face it, hoping to protect the kingdom. Lux figures out that Regreed knows there's a time limit on how long he can use his super powerful Bahamut armor. So, the bad guys try to trick him into a trap to make him weaker. Regreed goes for it and attacks Lux. But then one of the arms on his drag ride breaks off. Surprisingly, it's not actually part of Lux's Bahamut. Lux was fooling him all along. With Regreed caught off guard, Lux takes his chance and goes on the attack with his sword. In the middle of the fight, he gets a moment to talk to Eri. She jumps at the chance to update him on what's happening with Lyshard. Meanwhile, Sanya goes to see Lyshard, who's locked up, and she shows her how the new kingdom is getting wrecked. Sanya tells Lyshard that this big shot named Hayes wants her to talk to the enemy to stop people from getting hurt. Then, Sanya tells a couple of rebels to take Lyshard's clothes off to show her special crest, but Lux comes just in time to stop those creeps and rescue Lyshard. Lyshard is super upset and tells Lux she feels terrible because she thinks she let her whole kingdom down by not keeping it safe. Lux is there for her, though. He tells her not to worry and asks her to join him in the fight. He says they need her strength to take back the kingdom from being totally smashed. Hayes threatens the people of the new empire as she announces her conditions to them, ordering them to surrender or else they'd be exterminated. Krulsifer interrupts Hayes by attacking the giant, and Filthy follows suit in the attack. The girls work together to weaken the giant but doesn't hold out for long. Eventually, Lux and Lyshard team up and fight the giant together. Lux uses his reload on fire technique, and Lyshard brings out her thresher to help. They work together so well that they manage to stop the giant from moving. Then, Filthy goes and tells Hayes what's going on. Lux asks Filthy and Krulsifer to deal with the rebels who are still causing trouble in the city. Lux and Lyshard decide to go inside the giant to do some damage. In that moment, Hayes brings out her own powerful drag ride, and things get even more intense. The city gets split in half, and the destruction starts up again. The rebels are causing chaos, and the people are scared and can't fight back. Celestia is really determined to make things right after she couldn't beat Sanya before. She goes straight for Sanya, ready to try again. Meanwhile, Hayes is busy fighting Lyshard and suddenly realizes that Bahamut is nowhere to be seen. Lyshard isn't backing down, though. She calls out her drag ride 7 heads to keep up the fight against Hayes. Lux is doing his own thing, scouting the giant for a way in, but then he runs into Kiriheim. She is not about to let Lux get what he's looking for and starts to battle him. Lux is confused and asks Kiriheim why she's so set on tearing down the new empire. She tells him it's because her brother died, and she uses that to justify her actions. While Lux is caught off guard, Kiriheim lands a hit, making their battle drag on. But Lux isn't out yet. He gets a hand on Kiriheim's moves just in time and ends the fight. After that, Lux rushes over to Lyshard, who's just been knocked to the ground by one of Hayes' attacks. He tells Lyshard they're running out of time with Bahamut, and they decide to join forces to confront Hayes together. Hayes totally loses it and decides to drop a bomb that could take out the entire royal capital. But then Kiriheim flips the script and turns on Hayes, wrecking her plan to blow up the city. This makes Hayes even madder, and she goes all out on Lyshard, taking down her drag ride and leaving Lyshard without any power. Just when things look bleak, Lux comes out of nowhere and hits Hayes with everything he's got. After that, everything calms down, and peace is back in the new kingdom. During the big celebration, Lyshard steps up to give a big thank you speech. Then, out of the blue, she shocks everyone by naming Lux as her knight in front of the whole kingdom. Meanwhile, Lux stands there, promising to keep the academy and the kingdom safe. Suddenly, he catches a glimpse of Fugel hanging around in the background. Before Lyshard can say how she feels, all the girls swarm Lux, each one wanting his attention for different reason. Lyshard gets so worked up that she draws her sword on Lux, demanding that he tell everyone about his favorite girl. Thanks for watching till this long, my fellow men of culture. Don't forget to tell us about your favorite waifu from this anime and subscribe to the channel for more content.